अभी दूसरी ज्वाइन की
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Four more braves have made the ultimate sacrifice to protect their motherland against the relentless threat of terrorism. They fell to bullets and treachery of Pakistan, but unfortunately their martyrdom is once again being used as cannon fodder for politics. At a time when our nation should be united in grief and resolve, there are comments that are coming in from political leaders that once again question on what is our resolve to fight terror and how can we as a country stand together in that resolve. While the politics goes on, I'm joined by the DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, Mr. Swain, joining me live on the Newshour tonight. And Mr. Swain, it's a challenging time because we've seen a spurt in the number of incidents, terror incidents in the Jammu and Kashmir region. And this time the worry is that the theater has moved from the valley to the Jammu region. What is behind this current security situation in the state, sir?
Navika ji, at the outset, as the visuals are being shown, my tributes to the martyrs and the brave officer and the soldiers of the valiant Indian Army. I and the entire Jammu Kashmir policemen and policewomen actually joined in grieving and conveying our resoluteness that the perpetrators would be made to pay a very heavy price for it. Coming to your question as to what the situation or the assessment is, there are a couple of important issues which I think would require some elucidation. True that in Kashmir we have achieved visible success in eroding and degrading the terror ecosystem. And anyone who visits Kashmir can have a first-hand experience of beyond the statistics, the security situation having improved in terms of the fear factor coming down. Now, the Jammu thing that we are witnessing is essentially a small number of terrorists. They are all foreign of foreign origin from Pakistan, and they have been in two different axes. One, of course, since last about 2.5 years, we have seen in the Rajouri, Poonch and Riyasi, the upper reaches of the three districts, and then this tri-junction area of Kathua, Udhampur and Doda. Now, the numbers are, as I have been saying in several of my interactions, that the numbers are not very large, they're very limited. But yes, true that they are armed and heavily armed, and they're almost like special forces kind of fighters who have been sort of put behind the enemy line to be able to create mayhem to the extent possible. Now, what has happened is that Jammu, between 1995 till about 2006, for almost about 10 to 11 years, saw a very, very intense terrorist phase, in which a large number of even individual killings as well as massacres on community lines took place. Thereafter, the Indian state responded by way of a very coordinated approach in which the security architecture and its various elements cooperated to really see that it was ended. Now, after a lot of, after a sizable gap, today what we see is that these infiltrations have roughly taken place around April of this year. You see, till April, the heights of the Jammu side, Jammu is a very mountainous region in which the total area of Jammu is almost 2.5 times more than Kashmir Valley. Kashmir Valley has a flat land surrounded by mountains, whereas Jammu doesn't have any. I mean, I'm talking about those districts which are affected. The entire Jammu, the entire Doda, Kathua, Ramban, Kishtwar, Rajouri, Poonch, and large parts of Riyasi are absolutely mountainous. Sub ranges coming from the Great Western Himalayan ranges. You see, so what happens is in the months of April, May, June, July, these 4, 5, 6 months, the upper reaches open up. The villages are down below. And
I understand that, but the brazenness with which terrorists have been able to attack in the last 32 months, we've seen 50 of our brave security personnel being martyred. Now, this rings alarm bells, especially at a time when we are seeing after Article 370, after 2019, when we hope to get a success as far as peace is concerned in the Jammu Kashmir region, we're once again seeing a rise in activity.
Mind you, most of these are not terrorist-initiated incidents. You see, in many of these, actually, we are the ones who are seeking them. These are live operations in which we are into the field. Now, so therefore, this is a question of a battle in which taking advantage of the height and taking advantage of the terrain. You see, the tactics are such that when the surprise is with the enemy because of the height and so these are not attacks in the sense that ordinarily you would consider in conventional ways. So it is us who we are seeking them. You see, we are in the mountains, we are in the jungles, and because of a certain tactical and terrain advantage, this is what these unfortunate losses are taking place. That does not mean that 25 odd people would be able to really be able to turn the table against or change the scenario of the terrorist separatist environment coming about. So there is a marked difference between the two. Losses, yes. Unfortunate losses, yes. But has the situation changed where the fear factor has come to rule the cities and the villagers? I would say that no. If anyone who visits today Doda or Kathua or Bhadarwa, any of the towns you go, people, large numbers, the village defense committees are coming forward to, take on the terrorists. There's a handful of terrorists who have come from across. Absolutely no connection to land. They are foreign fighters.
But sir, the questions are being raised because there is an anticipation that elections will be held sooner than later. And also, your recent comments have caused a stir because of the infiltration that you have pointed towards into civil society, thanks to, I'm quoting, mainstream or regional politics in the valley. Are there any incidents which can be brought to public scrutiny? Because clearly, if infiltration in civil society is happening through political parties and political leaders, it needs to be called out.
Said in a completely different context to the discussion which you are right now having. I was in an academic institution. We were discussing how important it is to frame strategies, be it for large organizations which is into management or nation states trying to design their security strategies. So when you are making a diagnosis of any designing a strategy, you need to have analyzed as to where actually you would require intervention, where you would really find out as to what exactly needs to be done. If you are treading the same path and expecting to reach at a different destination, it is certainly not going to happen. So therefore, I do not think that it is aimed at any particular individual, or for that matter, any particular political party. What I was doing was, or what I was intending was, to make a diagnosis, an analysis, a kind of an analysis that would help us reach.
An analysis is made on facts. So isn't it a fact that political individuals, leaders, parties have influenced, whether they're regional parties or mainstream parties, have given the occasion for the infiltration that you talk about? Any analysis will be based on facts.
You see, there are several instances or cases which will require a separate session. This is an entirely different, subject matter altogether. So I would request that, I would put some kind of an analogy. Let's say someone would say that why is it that the Indian police, which is, very different from any other police in the world, the statements made before the police is not acceptable as evidence, even though it is relevant. So that would mean that it's an analysis of the Indian police working, which has happened over a period of time. Now, as a police leader who is managing and designing security, I would go into analysis. It is nothing individual about it. It is.
Are you backtracking because of the political outrage that has been expressed by several leaders?
Not at all.
Jammu and Kashmir?
Not at all. There is absolutely no backtracking. How did I backtrack? I am merely saying it is an introspection. I am introspecting for myself. Same would be available for the media. Same would be available for the religious endowments. The same would be available for the academia. You see, when you are designing a strategy as important as national security, which is hurting you in the long run, you know that it is hurting. You know that people have lost lives. You know that policemen and security force personnel have lost lives. You want to save that. You want to retrieve. And certainly you want to have a policy which would work. Now, how would you design a policy which would work? Only on evidence. So that is how.
Would you call for introspection by political leaders as well?
You see, I think we would go to the next question of talking about the Jammu situation.
I'm only asking if you would call for introspection by every section of the society, including politicians.
I would say that we should, as a country and as a nation, across party lines, across, I would say, any spectrum of any institution, we all would be very deeply interested. Is there any doubt that all of us would like Jammu and Kashmir to be peaceful, to be prosperous, and to live in harmony with the rest of the country? Answer is a big yes. If that is so, and if there is no difference of opinion between any section of the society, including political parties who are into electoral politics, naturally, there would be occasions to have discussions and to see that where things can be really tightened and knots and bolts can be changed. So it is in that context. I think we can go to the next question on.
Well, Mr. Swain, I know your duty has tough calls on you, and I know you fight for lives, you fight for the safety of people, especially in Jammu and Kashmir from the front lines. And I don't wish to drag you into politics at all. It is but our wishes to you that that line of duty continues, because India has faith not just in its braves, in its armed forces, but also in its police force, especially the Jammu and Kashmir police force. And your statements need to be seen in the perspective that you meant it in. That's what I would leave this interview on. Thank you very much for joining me on the News Hour, and we do wish you and your boys all the very best for being on the front line, for saving lives, and for protecting all of India. Thank you very much, Mr. Swain.
Thank you, madam. Jai Hind.